What's going on, guys? Sorry, I'm on a loud part of the road, so the audio might not be super great right now, but it'll stop here in a second. So I wanted to hop on. This video will be a little bit quicker. So a buddy of mine asked, he's trying to cut weight, and he asked, what supplements would you recommend to somebody that's trying to lose weight to take post-workout? And it's a question that I get a lot. He asked what I personally take and what I've seen. I owned a supplement company for a little while, and so I'm pretty well versed in different supplements and their effectiveness and what ingredients do what, and so we'll kind of go over it a little bit. What I personally do post-workout is, because I think if you guys followed me yesterday, I talked about intermittent fasting, how I do a version of that. I do drink a post-workout shake in the morning, and what I do is I do a scoop of gold standard whey, or right now I'm doing a Syntha 6, so just a different brand, but yeah, a whey protein. I try to go isolate because it has less carbs and fats, and it's a little bit easier to digest. And I also do like maybe a tablespoon or a little bit more than a tablespoon of PB2, which is just like powdered peanut butter. I do it for the flavor mostly, versus the nutrition side of things. But to go back to his question of what to take post-workout, really the most important thing is to get protein. People talk about the anabolic window, or the first 30 minutes. So to explain that a little bit, when you work out or when you strength train, your insulin levels spike, and you can uptake protein it increases protein synthesis in your muscles, and then it gradually dies off within the next 48 to 72 hours. So yes, you are more susceptible to consuming protein or carbs at that time, that those calories are going to be pushed into the muscles, but it's not as drastic as some people think, that you have 30 minutes and then the second that you're at 32 minutes, then protein is no longer viable. So to Tyler's question, I would definitely say a whey protein supplement or some type of protein supplement, but that's not to say that that's 100% necessary. You can get your total calorie intake from proteins in whole foods, and honestly I would recommend that. The only time that I would recommend getting a whey protein supplement is if you're trying to cut calories, but keep your protein at a certain level. Protein supplements can be very useful. They are a little bit more expensive than, say, eggs. You can get a lot more protein, $1 per gram of protein with eggs than you can a protein supplement. As well as lots of times people experience GI upset or stomach upset from whey protein. Sometimes that can come from a cheaper whey protein like a concentrate. But if you go with an isolate, usually it's a little bit better. The other time I would recommend it is if you're trying to bulk, and you're trying to consume as many calories as possible. Getting some liquid calories in the form of protein is definitely helpful if you're trying to bulk and gain more muscle. But do I think it's 100% necessary? No. You can definitely get your protein intake from whole foods, which I actually would recommend. On top of that, really the two big supplements that I recommend for people, whether you're trying to bulk or trying to cut, is caffeine and creatine. And the reason that is if you are trying to cut or bulk, either one, you want to have a really, really great workout, and you want your muscles to recover quicker, right? If you're trying to gain muscle, you need to have a good workout to increase protein synthesis, to break down the muscle, so then your body can rebuild it. If you're trying to cut, you want to have a great workout so that you can burn those calories. Caffeine helps you in both of those aspects, and so does creatine. But apart from those, then you start getting into gray areas where there's, a cup, maybe one or two studies that have done on different ingredients, and there's not a whole lot of scientific backing. And so lots of times you can just kind of be wasting your money. I do personally take a pre-workout. I've been doing that since I've started working out, and that's just what I do. Do I say that everybody needs a pre-workout? No, not necessarily. If you can get it done without a pre-workout, I think that's awesome. Lots of times people will swear by branch chain aminos, which is leucine, isoleucine, and valine. There's a decent amount of scientific research out there about the effectiveness. Really, if you're consuming adequate amounts of protein, you're going to be getting those branch chains in your diet anyway. The only time that I would say that it's really effective, branch chains, is if you're in a extreme calorie deficit. It can sometimes help you, give you a little bit of energy. But apart from that, lots of times branch chains are just more expensive than they are useful. I personally do drink amino acids with caffeine while I'm at work, but it's really just for the flavor and for the caffeine. I don't really care that they're branch chains. That's just kind of what is in the drink. Sometimes I'll do like a Mio Energy or some things like that, because that's just straight caffeine and flavoring. But I feel like sometimes the branch chains are a little bit healthier in that respect. But yeah, so supplements, you really don't need them. Post-workout, just getting your protein in from Whole Foods or a protein supplement is great. I would recommend caffeine if you're trying to lose weight or even gain. So Tyler, I hope that answers your question. Really, and I will reiterate this on every video. I did it yesterday. I'll do it tomorrow. If you're trying to lose weight, just a consistent calorie deficit, focusing on heavy compound movements, prioritizing strength training first, and a little bit of cardio afterwards, and being consistent with that, getting your vegetables in, your good proteins, your eggs, your chicken, your fish. I personally don't eat fish because I think it's gross, but other people love it. Your vegetables, your sweet potatoes, your rices, the stuff that you kind of know that you should be eating. There's a reason that it's out there, because it's effective, and it's a lot cheaper than, one, going out and eating crappy food, and two, it's a lot cheaper than filling your body full of supplements. I had a client once who was legitimately spending, it was about $300 a month on supplements, which is that's just unreal. But when I asked him, and he was trying to gain, and when I asked him how much he ate, when I wrote it all down, he was consuming about 12 to 1,500 calories a day, and for him to bulk, he needed at least 2,800. And I would even argue to go above and beyond that if you're really trying to gain, and if you're a hard gainer. People that say they're a hard gainer, like I struggle to gain weight, but when it comes down to it, and I'm consistently eating a calorie surplus, I can gain weight. I sit around 200. I've gotten up to 215 at one point. I had to consume about 4,000 calories every single day to do it, but it's possible, and it just all comes down to what you're doing consistently every single day, and that comes down to what your goals are. But yeah, as far as supplements, a lot of them are just overhyped. It's a billion-dollar industry, but there are some good. Creatine, caffeine, whey protein's decent. Branch chains only if you're really in a calorie deficit consistently. Apart from that, a lot of things don't have the scientific research that is necessary to be throwing down all that money on it. But hey, this is just kind of like my opinion that I've experienced through experience as well as a little bit of research. Feel free to do your own. The biggest thing with buying supplements is you want to make sure that they don't use a proprietary blend, that you actually know what they're putting in there and the amounts, because lots of people will use creatine or they will use caffeine, but they won't tell you how much they're putting in there, in which case you don't know what you're putting in your body, and you could be putting in flour for all you know. Which actually supplement companies will actually do that. So definitely look at the label, do your own research before you spend a lot of money on supplements, and then just stick to the basics. Whey protein if you need it, creatine, caffeine, and I think you guys will be set. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, DM me or put them in the comments. Actually, this is a live video, so I don't think there is a comment section. Anyway, DM me, and I will answer that on a live video. Thanks, guys.